It's that time of year again where ghosts and ghouls haunt our collective imaginations, but science hasn't yet proven that ghosts are real. But what about some real creepy crawlies that go bump in the night? Hey everyone, I'm here with Coyote Peterson, host of Brave Wilderness. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Julie. Excited to be here. Going to talk about some crazy creatures today, aren't we?
Yes, we are. These had some crazy experiences out in the field with everything from bears, pine martens, to things most people wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. To celebrate Halloween, we're going to discuss a few of the notorious creepy crawlies of the animal kingdom. My personal favorite are bats.
Oh, yeah. My favorite bat is the vampire bat. I know they kind of have like a negative connotation with Halloween and vampires, but I think they're the coolest looking. People are always afraid, oh, I'm going to be bitten by a bat and turned into a vampire. Not the case. When they're out there actually consuming blood, it's on something like a cow or a horse, usually at night when that animal's laying down sleeping, and they have these really tiny, razor sharp teeth, just whoosh, cut you open. There's an anticoagulant in their saliva, and they just sit there and slurp up the blood. They're good to go.
Yeah, there are some species that do make big snacks out of insects, though. There are some species that can eat like half their body weight in a single night.
Previously on Breaking Trail, filmed an episode with the Mexican free-tail bat, and they're so cool because they have this pouch that actually comes down between their legs, so they're flying through the air. It's like a catcher's mitt, and they will scoop up bugs with it, and then while in flight, actually take their foot and put their foot into their mouth with the bug and eat as they're going through the air, which is a pretty cool trait to be able to do. That's what I call fast food. What are the other nocturnal animals that are creepy around Halloween time?
If I was nocturnal, I think the worst part would be coming into contact with centipedes all the time.
Well, the thing about nocturnal animals is for us when we're out filming, they're oftentimes easier to find and the temperatures are much cooler, especially in the desert when you're out at night looking for animals. And yes, one thing that we always manage to come across, which personally makes my skin crawl, giant desert centipedes.
Ooh.
It is a living nightmare. I mean, these things can be this big.
So you've encountered these guys in the field?
Yes, quite a bit.
Ooh, what was that like?
Scary, because the camera team is like, Coyote, we need you to catch that. We actually have an episode coming up where I free handle a giant desert centipede, and it's pretty wild.
So centipedes, their name typically means like 100 legs, right?
Right, yes.
But that's not exactly accurate. They can have a variety of number of legs, like as few as 30 and as many as like 350.
They can, and I think it depends on the age of the centipede. They can live like 5 to 6 years, so they can grow pretty big, about a foot in length. I know the one giant desert centipede that we caught, we actually took the time to count its legs, and it had 72.
So these guys, when they're not going after humans, what kind of creatures do they eat?
Well, they would never go after humans, first of all. You would have to be out in the middle of the desert late at night trying to come across one of these giant desert centipedes. So you don't have to be afraid of them. But what they are out there hunting for are geckos, mice, they'll even eat baby birds, and they're very opportunistic, nomadic predators moving throughout the environment, using their antenna to sense their directions. As soon as they come across something, boom, they're hitting it with very venomous fangs, and they've got their meal. But as a human, you're not likely to ever come across one, and certainly not be bitten by one.
So that's a relief. I won't come across one anytime soon.
No, not likely, but there are some venomous species that you can come across that are close to your home. That primarily would be the black widow spider. One thing that's important to note about black widow spiders is that, again, they are not out there to get humans. People that are bitten by black widow spiders are often in the case where, you're rummaging around in your tool shed and there happens to be a web. You squeeze down on one and that animal is feeling like it's going to get squashed. So it's protecting itself when it's biting. It would never bite to try to eat a human.
Right, so if I leave it alone, it'll leave me alone.
Absolutely. Most of the time you'll find black widows in webs, which means that they're stationary hunters. Something like a tarantula is a nomadic predator where it's moving throughout the desert. If you see a spider in its web, it means that it's waiting for its food to come to it. So black widows, probably don't want them in your house, but if you do see one, all it's doing is eating the pest insects.
So black widows are kind of the most famous of the arachnids, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of misconceptions about them.
So black widows do have a pretty venomous bite. They have a neurotoxin called a latrotoxin, which if that gets into your system, it's going to be fairly uncomfortable. If you are bitten, right at the bite site, extremely painful, your stomach can cramp up, really dry mouth, swollen tongue. Let's just say, try to avoid being bitten by a black widow if you can.
Her bite might be deadly to a raccoon, but how would a bite affect a human? It wouldn't kill somebody, right?
That's a good question, because a lot of people think that if you're bitten by a black widow spider, oh, it's doom and gloom, this is the end of my life. Not so. Very, very few people are ever killed by black widows. Of course, there are reported deaths, usually in infants or elderly, and it all depends how your body reacts to the venom.
So these are just a few of the creepy crawly things you've encountered, right? So out of everything you've seen, bears, pine martens, spiders, what is the creepiest thing you've ever found?
Without question at this point, the soul pugid. Most people know it as a camel spider. Extremely aggressive little desert arachnid. It's not a spider, it's not a scorpion. It looks like the Predator from Arnold Schwarzenegger's famous movie. They're hairy, they've got these crazy sheer-looking mandibles. They basically grab their food, shove it into their mouth, and chew it up with scissors. It's absolutely crazy.
Oh yeah, that's a little terrifying.
It truly is. For Halloween, this has got to be the scariest creature I've ever seen.
So if these guys want to come and see your crazy adventures, where can they find you?
Well, search Brave Wilderness on YouTube or just at Coyote Peterson for any other social media.
Excellent. You should definitely check out his stuff. It's crazy awesome.
And you know what we need to do? We need to get you out in the field on an adventure.
Yes, snapping
D-News from the
turtles?
field. Yes, snapping turtles. We got to get you up close with a giant turtle.
So what do you guys think is the creepiest animal or insect? Tell us about it down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons and keep coming back to D-News so you don't miss a single episode.